Hey buddy, watch this.
Hello, Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game, and this is a deck spotlight on the mid-range Dragon Warrior by Lifecoach. Now, I've seen Lifecoach playing this deck on the ranked ladder. It's a pretty nifty take on Warrior that you don't usually see, and also actually a pretty nifty take on Dragon-style decks, which are usually much more oriented towards the late game with some of the big scary dragons and 7, 8, 9 mana cost, even 10 mana cost. But this one tops out actually at 6 mana for dragons and actually has more of a mid-range build with some aggressive tendencies as well. So it's almost an aggro, mid-range, hybrid-style deck that wants to get out onto the board early and then leverage mid-game taunts and dragons and some reactive stuff, and then finish it off strong with some big bodies and potential charging minions for super high damage. So I want to go ahead and take a look at this list before taking it out onto the ladder and learning a little more about how to play it. So I'm not going to address every card, but some of the more interesting pieces I think this deck has to offer. So starting off with some new Old Gods cards, specifically Blood to Ichor. This one is just such a super flexible card. Warrior, of course, has many ways to benefit from doing 1 damage to stuff. Now, admittedly, in this deck, there are less. There's no Acolyte of Pain, for instance. So you don't have quite as many internal synergies, but of course, you still can set up the Execute. You still can activate your Grommash. But more importantly, this card is really just about answering early game board. You can, for instance, kill a 4 health Totem Golem in combination with a Fiery War Axe while still summoning a 2/2 minion as well. So a lot of stuff that this card can do. There's also a N'Zoth's First Mate, which might seem a little bit surprising given that this isn't a pirate deck, but this card is really just about value. There's so many things with 1 health out there these days that having that 1/3 hook can make a big difference if you don't draw into your Fiery War Axe. It also works with stuff like Sir Finley. If you do get the Druid hero power, suddenly you've got a 2 attack weapon for a few turns. So there's some nifty things that happen there. Alexstrasza's Champion is really one of the defining pieces of this deck, I think. There are instances where this is a 3/3 charge, and of course that's how you want to use it 99% of the time. Because as a 2 mana 2/3, it's not that exciting. But when you do have that dragon, which happens a lot of the times, 3/3 with charge, you'll be surprised just how often that can get tons of value by clearing an opponent's minion, doing extra damage, providing pressure in the late game. There's just a variety of things this card can do, and it's quite strong for 2 mana and really does end up as one of the most important pieces of the deck as far as I'm concerned. Frothing Berserker is really just one of the big threats in this deck. If your opponent doesn't deal with it, you've got another way to kill them or make some super effective trades. At 4 mana, we see a couple different taunts with Twilight Guardian and Bloodhoof Brave. Bloodhoof, of course, new with Old Gods. These help protect all the stuff you've built in the earlier turns, like the Berserkers, the Alexstrasza's Champions, but also can just be threatening in their own. Like this becomes a 5/5 if it takes 1 damage. So when you combo it with the Blood to Ichor or the Inner Rage or something, suddenly you've got a very big, scary threat that your opponent has to address. Twilight Guardian, really more about the dragon synergy, but also a 3/6 body is certainly nothing to scoff at. Blackwing Corruptor, another dragon synergy card that's great at answering your board, but sometimes just doing damage to the enemies. Draconid Crusher might seem like a very unusual card because it's almost never played in Constructed and even maybe more rarely in Arena. But it actually got better in this particular expansion with the nerf of Big Game Hunter, because this does come out as a 9/9 quite often in this deck, simply because you do have so many ways to apply that early game pressure with your Alexstrasza's Champions and all that fun stuff. So even as a 6/6, that you feel okay playing it and it gives you some extra dragon bodies. But as a 9/9, it's very threatening for opponents and they will often have difficulty dealing with it. And then, of course, Hellscream, Grom himself finishes it off with lots of finishing potential thanks to cards like Inner Rage and even Blood to Ichor. So, pretty interesting deck that plays very quickly and plays Warrior in a surprising way that most people aren't suspecting, which can give you a big advantage on the ladder. That's not the right deck. Here we go. So let's go ahead and take this mid-range Dragon Warrior out onto the ladder and learn how to mulligan and learn some early game and mid game playstyle strategies and see if we can't finish off a few games as well. Alright, so up first, I should note actually we're still very early in the season, so rank 14 is moderately competitive at this point still. So we'll probably run into some good decks and some strong players as well. But that's how we're playing Shaman. We're expecting a pretty aggressive start from the Shaman. I think both of these cards are far too slow, even though it would be nice to guarantee a Dragon synergy. I think we need to look for stuff like the Finleys and the Blood to Ichor and even a Frothing just to ensure that we have some great turns. Flame Juggler's also solid as just a 2-mana body that can threaten 1 health stuff. Steady Shot's actually not bad in this deck because sometimes you can just run over opponents with a good start. But I think against Shaman in particular, having the flexibility to do a damage to ping stuff off and armor up against an aggressive high damage deck has some dual benefits. So I really hope we draw into a dragon here, right? Because I want to be able to use my Alexstrasza as champion. I don't mind him using the Rockbiter on my Finley at all. The Finley wasn't contesting the Tunnel Trog at all. Oh, clutch draw. So this is the perfect answer, right? Kills it instantly. He's probably going to have trouble dealing with this. I have a good turn 3 follow-up. And remember, you don't have to play your Frothing Berserker every time with like guaranteed damage buffs. Sometimes just as a 2/4 body, it's good enough. And see, it's already a 3 or a 4/4. So a 3-mana 4/4 is fantastic. Shaman in particular has a tough time dealing 4 damage cleanly because most of their stuff does 3 damage. I don't think we have a good way to... Actually, we could, theoretically. We'll kill one of these first. If this Flame Juggler hits this, we can actually kill it with our face instead of the Frothing. So we need a 50-50 here. No! So we'll go ahead and do it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it this way. I'm gonna save this just in case I need to use it on one of his minions. I really wanted the Flame Juggler to hit, then we'd Blood, and then we'd Weapon. We had the mana actually to do all 3, and then we could have sent like, you know, 8 to face, whatever it was. Oh, he didn't have an answer. That is stupidly good news for us. We'll just go ahead and play everything on curve. This gets moderately punished by Elemental Destruction, but he doesn't have the mana, and this would have lived anyway. I think we just win the game here. I don't see what he does. We can even play the Draconid just for overkill. He wasted a Lava Burst on our Frothing. We feel pretty good about that. At least I do. Actually, the Blackwing's probably just better. It answers the board. We don't have lethal, do we? 4, 5, 6 plus 3 is 9. No, we don't have lethal yet. So we'll just go ahead and play this, since it does deal with the board. We don't need to play this still. I'm just saving it. Our board has plenty of damage for lethal right now with a hero power. Probably even safe if he removes something. We could actually activate this for additional damage too. That was probably really close to lethal last turn actually. Probably 3 damage off if I'd activated the Enrage effect here. That will not do the trick. We still have, even if he pings us off. Does that do the trick? I think we still have lethal. Yeah, that most certainly does the trick. Hero power for fun. Well played. Alright, so you saw exactly how that deck functions right there. That was like the perfect game, I think, to show this deck off. The raw power of Alexstrasza's champion, first off. Just being able to trade and present a threat on the board. We saw a Frothing get very big and scary and do tons of damage and eat ridiculous removal that it didn't deserve. We saw the taunts protecting our value stuff. We just we got a good start and we went for it. And you saw the aggro side of this deck really more than the mid-range side of the deck. All right, so this stuff's still pretty slow. We need our early game. We need the Finleys. We need the Alexstrasza's. We need the N'Zoth's First Mate's perfect against Paladin, actually. Very, very good. Getting that Rusty Hook out and being able to combo it with the blood is sometimes very valuable. Oh, we'll go ahead and attack just in case the Fiery War Axe comes. We don't want to burn 2 or 3 charges of the Rusty Hook, right? Because the Fiery War Axe is likely going to be much, much better on average. See, we don't really have a good play here. We can coin out the Bloodhoof next turn, but we just have to Hero Power. Hero Power is not great in this deck, by the way. The Warrior Hero Power doesn't really support the mentality of this deck. You're not trying to last forever or keep yourself alive. You're trying to build a board. So it doesn't do a lot. Oh, we could do this and kill that. And have a pretty solid board, but it would be very susceptible to Consecration. I think he has a Consecration because he looks like he's a slow Paladin running Aldor Peacekeepers. I guess, though, if we do get him to waste a Consecration, we can just follow up with a really strong 4 into a really strong 5. So we'd be ahead on the board for quite a long time. And if he doesn't have the Consecration, then we'd be in a very good spot. So let's go ahead and take the risk. Oh, we gotta do this in the right order, folks. We gotta do this in the right order. The minion has to survive. So, like I said, if he has a Consecration, okay, we lost 4 mana, not even really 4 mana, about 3.5 mana worth of stuff. So he doesn't have it. So now we're in a great spot. We can actually coin this out and kill that pretty easily too. This does die to True Silver Champion, but then he has to float a mana. So I think I'm okay with that. We'll go ahead and use this one to trade. There's like no chance in the world we ever pull this back into our deck. But just in case somehow we get a card, some magical way that allows us to reuse a minion, the Cruel Taskmaster does have slightly more value than the Ooze. So you always kind of have to think about that little stuff. Humility, okay. I think we'll just draw the Azure Drake and probably trade these guys in. I think the 1/4 body is slightly more valuable than the 2 bodies here, just because more health is good when you've got stuff like Blood Tiger. And this trades into dudes forever as well, so it can kill 4 dudes all on its own.
I have no time for games.
We'll just trade this in and play a Draconid, I think. Yeah, that's fine. No reason to get fancy here. I wish we had a little bit more face damage, but we're okay so far. I mean, we're ahead on the board. He's potentially at 17. We have some stuff to play. We have the Execute. It's kind of annoying to deal with. I'll probably just trade N'Zoth. Draconid again. There's a little bit of an issue with the N'Zoth thing because we do have the Fiery War Axe, but I think it's okay. It's not that big a deal to waste. He can trade here, but then our Rusty Hook will trade into it as well, so it lined up pretty well for mana. Tyrion we don't have a great answer for. I can eat, face, execute. Yeah, I will. I'll eat 6 damage here. We'll go here. We'll execute. We will... we don't have an activator for this, so it's not as good. We'll play the Bloodhoof. We'll go face. And do we have lethal with Grom if I put the Fiery War Axe on versus keep the Rusty Hook? 10. So an activator is an activator. The Fiery War Axe right now doesn't matter. I think we'll armor up for now. He can't kill this very cleanly right now. He can use his weapon and his minion, but he does go down to 14 for that, so. He probably has heals, of course. It's a late game paladin. There's no telling what kind of heals he has, but N'Zoth will actually give us some trouble right now because he will get the second Tyrion. Oh, he's gonna sack his own minion too, though. Oh, yeah, it's weird that I guess he wanted to draw, but maybe he's really digging for the N'Zoth. We can kill this if we don't get lethal. It's a couple lethal draws. Yeah, we don't get the lethal.
That was a mistake.
I don't have it, dude, but we'll go ahead and we'll just play this as a body at this point. Not worried about my health just yet, so we'll play the Fiery War Axe for incoming damage. Equality, I don't know, he's already used a Pyro and a Consecration, so if he has a quality Pyro or something, I'm going to be very salty. So we show lethal right now if he doesn't heal, but he almost certainly has a heal. It's got a, yeah, forbidden healing. That's not a good draw at all. I don't think I can play the Grom. I don't want to overcommit into an equality. We still threaten lethal either way because we have 11 showing, and this does 4. It's a good draw. I just need an activator for my Grom, and the game is over. Even with that, I think, right? Inner Rage wins me the game. Flame Juggler does not win me the game. I actually don't care if this hits the Light Lord or the dude. I think the Light Lord's actually better because now the Light Lord might heal itself. I got some tough... I might have to play the Grom now. This is actually pretty tough. The Grom doesn't actually die to the Light Lord trade without this guy, so let's do it. We're in a tough spot. We don't have any cards, is the main issue. We just never got our Grom activator. He has a lot of stuff that could put us in trouble here, that being one of them. Oh, I don't think we can win. I think we're out of gas. We'll get the Grom activator this turn, I'm sure, by the way. Sure of it. Healed him, so... Actually, the Korkron is lethal. Nope. We need the rag to hit this guy for sure. If he heals to 8, if he heals 8 more, I don't think we can win. If he had a way to kill this off, it would actually be the smarter play, but both of our minions have 2 attack. So I don't think he can. That actually helps our likelihood too. He can go up to 6, so the Korkron still gives us lethal if he doesn't play a taunt, but I think the N'Zoth is coming down with the Tyrion. No, that doesn't hurt us yet. Oh, we got a forbidden healing, that's game over. Yeah, Rag really likes himself. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, just not getting the Grom activator really cost us there, and not having a dragon activator for our taunt didn't help. Just the math didn't quite work out on that one. We maybe could have held the Grom and tried to dig out a surprise, but I don't think that was particularly likely. And it never came, so we would have lost that route too. But we will venture forth. Got another chamois. We'll toss back the Inner Rage and keep the other 3. That's great. These are good. The Cruel we might not be able to play on 2, but we might. It could give us 3 damage. Oh, he thinks he's got a good hand apparently. Thinks he's got a good hand apparently. I'll just go ahead and coin out the Fiery. There's no reason to let this thing do extra damage if we don't have to. The Cruel might be hard to play, but we can actually kill a Totem Golem with it, so that's very valuable. If he plays a Totem, we can also maybe use the Task on it. Probably don't want to use the Task on that one. We could just play the Task as a 2-2, and I think I probably will. Because it might end up giving me the damage to kill his next minion. Like, yeah, we lose the effect, but it's really not a big deal. Because I could have 3 damage with the Rusty Hook and the Task, so. Or I could kill an Argent Squire, for instance. Or a Totem. This is actually debatable. I think double N'Zoth's First Mate is actually the best play. I can't outright kill the Argent Squire and play the Frothing Berserker, so there's a chance like a Lightning Bolt or a number of 3 damage things that Shamans have could kill it. So I think I'm better off just going this route and killing the Argent Squire. This will live, but the real debate is playing this or armoring up. I guess armoring up against an aggro Shaman is probably better, just because health is actually pretty valuable, and we have the taunt next turn. Or the execute for the 7/7. I actually hope he plays the Flame Wreath. That'd be pretty good for us. Because we could, yeah, we can Frothing and execute. We're going to have a pretty good board. It's going to be harder for him to kill the Frothing with the without a minion on board. 4 damage is difficult for Shamans. Sometimes. The new Storm Crack or whatever is okay, but I doubt he runs it. I might just go ahead and double Frothing here. But the taunt also is pretty solid, I guess. Alright, that's an awful turn for him. Oh, that helps, actually. He can kill it. Oh, man. So lucky. So lucky, dude. This probably lives if I play it, but it's a little off curve. I guess I could hero power, too. The spell power probably won't help me next turn. I have plays anyway, so yeah, this is probably best. We'll save the weapon charge for now. That totem roll, come on. Is that it? We'll probably have to kill that. It's pretty scary. That also makes me think he's not that aggro. Kinda hate to waste all the Frothing damage. I'm gonna have to send the Frothing in though, or leave this alive 1. I guess the Frothing's not going anywhere, so it doesn't hurt. I think I'll go ahead and play the Azure since, I don't know, it's off mana a little bit, but I can play the N'Zoths to equip a new weapon. We don't need a taunt yet, so why play a taunt if you don't need the taunt? And we're unlikely to activate the damage ourselves, so... Earthshock. Yeah, that's not bad. Still left me a minion, though. He might need that against a taunt later, so I don't even mind. It's a good trade. It's a good trade. Probably Azure hero power. I'm a little nervous about elemental destruction, because I'm getting a pretty big board. It's gonna rock biter this guy, it looks like. It's okay. We can still clear and go face, or even clear his board. As hard as he's clearing stuff, I don't think we need to worry about a board clear from him. Otherwise, he'd probably let our stuff kind of build up a little. I think I'll clear just to prevent totem shenanigans. I don't know. I don't know what's coming, so... I need to start doing damage, though, admittedly. We're going to run out of cards if I don't. Need to start looking for the kill.
The light protects me.
I can't even use these enrages. They're too... They do too much damage to my minions. Alright, so now a taunt doesn't hurt. I need another dragon, though. Actually, that'll work too. I'm gonna pop the Divine Shield here, but I'm not actually going to kill it just yet. Yeah, cool. I think he's out of gas. Saw the trouble coming. He must have not ran a board clear based on his plays. Alright, so that time we definitely won the mid-range game instead of the aggro game. We kind of had to slow down and recover the board, and you notice we had a pretty solid batch of 5-mana minions there at the end. So that is clearly another route to victory. It's just overwhelming with value in the mid game. And you also noticed, I don't know if it was apparent, I didn't use it, but we had those 2 inner rages with 2 Azure Drakes on the board. We had the potential to kill 3 health minions outright with inner rage thanks to spell power. So that's a pretty neat little side effect there. I'll go ahead and keep the frothing. I don't think mage is going to run me over, so I might be a little safer holding on to a 3-drop than against some decks. I think it will be able to survive. Nizas, of course, is great. Since we have another one, I'll go ahead and start hitting face. There's really no downside to dealing damage to a mage, unlike a warrior, potentially, who could benefit from battle rage if you needlessly hit the face. I'll probably hero power next turn if he doesn't play anything. There's an argument to the second Nizoths just to keep a minion on the board against the ping, but I don't think it's super valuable. We'll just play this as a 2-3 actually, just to develop the board. We still don't know what kind of mage this is. No indication just yet. Probably a tempo mage, much like every mage. Freeze mage is not particularly prominent, so I can't imagine a freeze mage over there. This did, I guess, reveal what our deck is about a little bit, just that we're involved in dragons somehow, but not necessarily that that we care about late game dragons. This is likely going to get a good trade-off. I'm kind of scared to play the frothing into it, because it'll be a big frothing, because we'll have hit 4 minions for 5 damage. So he'll definitely feel compelled to kill it. He'll probably trade ping. If he does do that, I guess it leaves us a pretty solid board and a good turn 4. So maybe it is worth, I don't know. He would be investing 4 mana between his Apprentice and his Fire Blast. And like I said, we'd have a pretty good board, so perhaps forcing his hand is actually okay. It's going to put him behind on tempo quite a bit if he does make that play. He might have like a Frostbolt, Arcane Blast or something and be able to trade here, which is admittedly less good, but we're at least creating friction and some dilemmas. Oh, whoa! He's not even going to kill it! That seems risky. That seems real risky. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, but that's not as particularly clean. Yeah, it's clean. Never mind. I'll go ahead and kill it with my weapon instead of this guy. It keeps a couple 1-health things on the board, which can be frustrating for a mage who's trying to ping them off. It admittedly hurts my health a little and didn't really buy me any extra face damage because this would have been 1 attack higher if I'd killed it with this guy. Alright, I'm totally okay with him using a fireball on that after we've already gotten that much value out of it. This is not that good without a dragon, but this is actually pretty resilient to mage shenanigans with board clears and stuff like Flame Strike and Blizzard. So we'll go ahead and play that one, even though it's off mana, just in case we have a dragon that can activate 3 damage to his face or something, you know. If we draw a dragon for 7 mana, this is 6 damage of burst, right? So it might actually help us get a kill. He's playing way too slow against our tech. He's just drawing cards and pinging. Is that just game? That's 6, 7, 8. It's not exactly, but he saw the writing on the wall. So once again, you saw the aggro aspect of this deck. I think him playing the Kabbalist Tome instead of dealing with the frothing, that was really... it's really what hurt. So that's actually going to wrap it up for my look at the Midrange Dragon Warrior by Lifecoach. I think we actually saw the deck in a pretty good light, doing what it's trying to do, which is a couple different things. Get out onto the board early, leverage dragon synergies, and win the game in the mid game. We didn't see kind of a late game bailout from Hellscream. We almost did against the Paladin, but we just didn't draw the activators like Inner Rage like we needed to finish the game off. So that's a third route to victory with this deck that we didn't see in action, but you saw the potential for that to happen. So pretty cool little deck, I think. I like how aggressive it is in this particular meta, and it's surprising for people because they're not expecting stuff like Flame Jugglers and Alex Strauss as champion in Warrior. So that's a pretty fun aspect as well. If you have any questions about this deck, you want to try it out, feel free to leave questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer and discuss the deck and potentially suggest some upgrades. Do remember this is Lifecoach's deck, not mine, so I don't know it quite as intimately as he might, but I still have a pretty good feel for it, and I'm happy to discuss it with you. So thanks so much for watching this deck spotlight. Give a shout out to Lifecoach for this cool deck, and until next time, game on.